Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session, Smarter, Faster, More Creative, How Newell Brands Reimagined Their Content Supply Chain. I am your host, Lindsay Morris from Adobe, and I am thrilled to be joined here by Sharon Bull from Adobe and Jeanette Stull from Newell Brands. Sharon Bull is a strategic consulting leader and Firefly professional services consultant at Adobe. She has a deep expertise in scaling creative operations for enterprise marketing teams. Sharon partners with Fortune 500 companies to streamline content production from creative brief through asset delivery using solutions like Workfront, Fusion, Firefly, Frame.io, AEM assets, all of which you will be hearing about today. Jeanette Stull is also here with us. Jeanette is the creative director of studio and design operations at Newell Brands. She shapes the creative direction for beloved brands like Sharpie, Elmer's, Crock-Pot, Yankee Candle, and Rubbermaid. Today she heads Newell's global in-house photo and video studio, where she's introduced new strategic roadmap and built more efficient AI-supported workflows that have scaled content production across the portfolio. She's also helped develop and lead the One Newell process, aligning intake, project management, and deployment across thousands of creative assets annually under a unified system. What a treat to have both Jeanette and Sharon here with us today, and we have a lot to cover. All right, so here's how today's flow is going to go. Sharon is going to start us off. She's going to outline the building blocks for modernizing your content supply chain. Then we'll hear from Jeanette. She'll showcase 4 examples for how Newell Brands is reimagining how they are building new workflows and creating and delivering content. Then Sharon will bring it together with an enterprise blueprint for content supply chain success. And then we'll get a sneak peek into what we're planning in partnership with Newell Brands at Adobe Max. We will also take questions from the audience, so please feel free to submit questions in the Q&A pod. Also, when something piques your interest, let us know in the survey questions to the right of your screen, and we'll be sure to follow up. We also have some helpful resource links to give them, so give them a click. And yes, this session is being recorded, and it'll be sent to you after we wrap. Okay, let's see. So to spark your creativity and get you warmed up and in the mood, we thought we would start off with a Yankee Candle trivia question. Is everybody ready? Okay, the question is, what do you think is Yankee Candle's #1 selling candle fragrance? Is it spiced pumpkin, lemon lavender, pink sands, or balsam and cedar? I see a lot of responses coming in. Ooh, spiced pumpkin. People are really in the mood. I get that. All right, I see them voting. It's hard to choose. Okay. Are you ready? I'm going to tell you the answer. The answer is pink sands. Oh, and I have mine going on right here. Yes, I feel like I am in content supply chain paradise right now. I highly recommend. I'm going to set it down carefully. All right, that was fun. So I am feeling warmed up. I hope you are too. And now we are going to welcome Sharon Bull. Sharon, it's so nice to see you.
So nice to see you too, Lindsay. Thank you for the intro. Also, I voted for balsam, so I was wrong. So.
Oh. Well, it's good. It's good over here.
Okay, good. So just as an introduction, I'm Sharon Bull, and I'm an AI engagement manager here at Adobe. And I'm excited to have Jeanette share what her team at Newell did to transform their creative workflows, because it's very exciting. I was able to work with their team through their Firefly services transformation. So just to, whoops, sorry, let me change the slide. Just to level set, so everyone here is on the same page. Content supply chain is an end-to-end process for planning, creating, managing, and measuring all the content needed to personalize at scale. It's just like a physical supply chain where we would move goods efficiently from factory to customer. A content supply chain ensures that digital assets, images, video, copy, campaigns move smoothly from concept to delivery. So it's the same amount of complexity, as you all know, and what Adobe works with you to do is streamline that and optimize that. So the way we do that is through our solutions, but also through some prescriptive solutioning with your team. What made Newell so fantastic at what they did is that they were open and collaborative as we went through this experience. So things will change because you didn't do things with AI before and you do them with AI now. Steps will change, processes will change, and they've been incredibly open and resilient through these changes in order to see the efficiencies that they are seeing. Let me just go to the next slide. So just to cover, I want to cover this. So there are different solutions for different parts of your content supply chain. What makes Adobe solutions unique is that we can chain them together. And by working with our team and your team to understand your processes, we can create that supply chain. So if you're planning things in workflow and planning, you can bring it into your creative tools. Your creative people will work natively in the tools that they use all the time and be able to update the workflow and planning. Challenges we've seen working with companies is they're not unique. I'm sure you've seen the same challenges in your organizations. On the planning side, teams are often juggling scattered spreadsheets, emails, approvals. It's messy and time consuming. In creation, there's a huge pressure to produce more content and more formats faster. And then when it comes to managing assets, companies need to keep everything on brand and legally compliant, but still easy to find and easy to use. Delivery adds another layer. You have to activate content across a ton of channels now and platforms that have different requirements for activation. And that can all be quite overwhelming if you don't have some automation and governance around that. Also, reporting is often a black hole. Most teams don't have visibility into what's working, so they can't prioritize or see live, real-time updates so they can react quickly to market trends and opportunities to market yourself. So with that, I would love to turn this over to Lindsay to introduce the star of the show. I'm so excited for you all.
I am so excited too. Thank you, Sharon, for setting the foundation for content supply chain transformation. All right, so now that we have the building blocks, we're ready to start building. And so for that, we have the perfect person here with us today. I am so happy to welcome Jeanette Stull.
Hi, Lindsay. How are you?
Hi, I am great. It's so good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. I'm glad to be here.
All right, Jeanette. So you are going to take us through 4 key examples for how you and your teams have been transforming your content supply chain at Newell Brands. And I'm going to go through them, but I need you to keep me honest.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So first, we're going to learn about how you're using Adobe Firefly to generate images for storyboard, background images within your photo productions.
Absolutely.
All right. Next, you're going to show us how Frame.io helps you manage and collaborate on creative projects faster.
Yes, we love Frame.io.
Oh, we do too. And then you'll show how you're streamlining the creation of assets by automating tasks in AEM, Firefly APIs, and Workfront Fusion to scale SKUs faster.
Yes.
All right, and then last but not least, how the integration with Workfront and AEM helps you power faster, smarter, safer asset management. Woo! Did I get it?
Lots to share.
Lots to share. All right, well, you're keyed up. We're ready to go. I'll hand it over to you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. All right, first, I want to tell you a little bit about Newell Brands. We're a leading consumer product company with a diverse portfolio of over 50 plus iconic brands, from Graco, Coleman, Oster, Rubbermaid, Sharpie. We have over 24,000 talented employees around the world. Here at Newell Brands, we aspire to delight consumers by lighting up everyday moments. And let's be honest, I'm pretty sure you've got at least one of our products at your home right now, probably within arm's reach. But let's jump into it. So photo shoots don't look the same anymore. Neither does the way we create them. And Newell Brands, our design team is using custom AI models to reimagine the creative process, making it faster, smarter, and more flexible than ever before. Let's take a look. Wow, isn't that amazing? So with Adobe Firefly, not only have we saved with that shoot, since then we have saved even more money, over $40,000 on set builds from location settings from Elmer's brand by training a paper cut out custom model of our brand guidelines and campaign assets. Once trained, these models are published for our creative teams to use, ensuring consistency and speed. Elmer's is just one example. We're already applying this approach across other brands. They're just not launched quite yet. This year, our home fragrance team faced a major challenge, delivering 9 new holiday collections for our 2025, tripled what we've done in previous years, all with a much shorter time frame. To make this possible, we divided the collections across 3 main studio hubs. What we did is we used Adobe Firefly generative AI images, and they set these as our backgrounds. So instead of traveling to costly locations, we showcase these backgrounds on large LED TV screens inside our in-house studio. We shot the product imagery directly in front of them. This approach not only accelerated our timelines, but it also optimized our budgets, allowing us to produce premium visuals without expensive location shoots like cocktail lounges. Although I'd have to admit, that would have been a lot of fun. I do love my espresso martinis. This example comes from our work with Rubbermaid Food Storage. We get a lot of customers that submit and request for certain product sell-in materials in a very short turnaround time, just a few days. Their ask for the imagery was to be set in a high-end, modern, all-black kitchen. Instead of going through the time and the expense of building a set in-house or renting an expensive Airbnb kitchen to shoot in, our team leveraged Adobe Firefly. Using generative AI, we created a realistic high-end black kitchen background. To bring into the photo shoot, we printed the image on our plotter and hung it up as a backdrop. This approach gave us speed, cost savings, and flexibility to deliver exactly what our communication design partners and their customer needed. This allows us to respond to our customers much faster than ever before. Here's an example from our Coleman shelter photography. We were tasked with creating imagery that placed the product in a farmer's market setting on grass, not concrete or pavement. And that was a challenge, finding the right location within such a short time frame that we had to deliver the assets in. To solve this, we turned to Adobe Firefly to generate an AI background that matched the brand vision. Once our brand partners approved the image, we staged the shot and the product outside our own building, aligning the camera angles with the generative scene. Turns out the perfect farmer's market lawn was our own front yard. Who needs location scouts when you have Adobe Firefly and a patch of grass outside the office? Before we move into video production, our creative and studio teams collaborate on what we call pre-visualization decks to align on storyboard direction. Since introducing Adobe Firefly into our workflows, we've been able to bring concepts to life much faster making it easier for brand stakeholders and internal teams to see the vision clearly and approve it quickly. We can also train them as a custom model to maintain the style of the visuals for the storyboard. These AI-generated images have accelerated sell-in approvals, helping us to visualize ideas in a compelling way. In fact, the need for our traditional concept photography shoots have dropped 90%, saving significant time and resources while keeping the creative process agile. Firefly makes these storyboards clearer, faster, and closer to the final shoot, reducing all the reshoots, keeping teams moving, and enabling our smaller team to support more storyboard collaboration across the brands. Thanks to Firefly, our storyboards now look so real. Sometimes our stakeholders ask, wait, did you already shoot this? Nope, that's just AI saving us a trip and a budget line. So what's our key takeaways from all of this? Well, we're bringing ideas to life much faster. No more version 37. We can all relate to that before everyone agrees. Skipping the pricey shoots. AI is cheaper than renting goats for the farmer's market scene. And winning bigger, right? Win from our cross-functional partners and our sales teams, where we're able to streamline that creative development and production across our SKUs. So let's jump into less back and forth, more moving forward. At Newell Brands, Frame.io is helping us cut the noise, speed up approvals, and keep projects on track. Let's see how.
Every great idea starts with a team, a lens, and a take. A spark of vision, a crew standing by, the product lit, the camera rolling. But getting from shoot day to launch day, that's where things get complicated, because creativity doesn't happen in a straight line. It's layered with people, process, and pressure. With multiple brands and tight timelines, expectations grow. More deliverables, more versions, more chances to get it wrong or get stuck. A last-minute shoot, a hard deadline. Footage is backed up. Files are copied to an external drive, bubble-wrapped, labeled, mailed. Then, we wait. The editors across the country. The clock is ticking. That hard drive, and it's somewhere between here and there. In the meantime, feedback begins to scatter. Comments trickle in, across teams, through email, screenshots, notes scribbled in PDFs. 2 days, gone. Now imagine a different way. With Frame.io, those same takes are in the cloud. No transfers, no drives, just instant visibility. Footage is available on any device. Wherever your team is, the footage is already there. No waiting, no guessing, just clarity. Comments tied to time code, notes anchored to exact frames, drawings, annotations, all on one intuitive platform. Leadership, creative, brand. No more back and forth. No more which version is this. Everyone aligned, everyone in sync. What used to take 2 days now takes 2 hours. Because editors can start cutting while the shoot's still rolling. Feedback lands as the footage uploads. Projects move fast. One platform, multiple studios, all your people. Every version, every note, every moment. Captured, shared, approved in one secure central hub. Newell Brands and Frame.io, from lens to launch.
Wow. We do love Frame.io. Like I mentioned earlier, we have received overwhelmingly positive feedback from our stakeholders. Typically, rolling out new tools comes with challenges around change management, but this one was a smooth transition. The platform is user-friendly, it saves us time, and its thumbnail page view makes it easy to see all the images at once, helping us quickly check for brand consistency across all our assets. We also use Frame.io to keep us organized across all 3 of our hubs with our external agencies all in one centralized platform. For leadership, this means we get instant visibility into what each studio is shooting in real time. And for video editing teams and digital asset coordinators, it provides early visibility into upcoming work, allowing them to prepare and stay ahead of the pipeline. We've standardized our folder structures from talent scouting to reviewing, to studio props, shot lists, and tracking. So everything is consistent, easy to navigate, and no one has to play Indiana Jones to find a file. In Frame.io, we can create customized labels that automatically sort assets into collections, another word for folders. At Newell Studios, we built 3 key labels: alt takes, anything outside of our shot list; final set, select, so any approved asset, or revisions needed. If we're being honest, we almost added a 4th label, retoucher's nightmare, when it's going to need a lot of Photoshop love. But I'm just kidding. This system makes it easy for our teams to organize captured assets, quickly identify files, and approve and ensure our retouchers can immediately see the final assets moving into post-production. Once approved, these assets then flow directly into Workfront, where they can connect with all of our deliverables attached to the parent project, keeping everything aligned and centralized. So what's our key takeaways here? Well, I'm not kidding when I said it used to take 2 days. Now it only takes 2 hours. Previously, if we were on set somewhere, we would have to take and download that footage, put it on a hard drive, and then ship it over to where our photo editor was, because we have multiple studios across the globe. Now they can go right into Frame.io and it's already there, and they can start editing right away. So approvals made simple. No more approval ping pong matches, because all the feedback is in one centralized hub. Instant visibility into changes, accelerating production, and minimizing revision cycles. Consistent structures across all 3 main hubs keeps the teams aligned, and visibility into what each studio is shooting without needing a crystal ball. All right. AI takes care of the tedious so our teams can focus on the creative, without automation built right into Workfront. Next, my creative partner, Julie, will share how Newell Brands is leveraging Firefly automations to enhance our workflow.
As a part of Project Mosaic, Team Indigo has collaborated with the Adobe Firefly Services team to develop an automation that will accelerate the production of our digital assets. So this Contigo example is a mug that has a number of different colorways and sizes to accommodate for. However, the communication across the deliverables is very similar. The initial direction for our ATF carousel may look something like this in Photoshop. We can then use this as a template for our second automation to scale these assets across all of the different variations of SKUs. So the different colors, the different sizes, to produce the full assortment of assets needed to support the PDP page for this particular product. We would leverage Workfront to create a new task within our project. We'll call this one Contigo Demo. We'll adjust our custom forms for our Firefly Use Case 5 automation. In this case, we'll select SKU Swap. And our workflow, again, will be to create our Photoshop files and our renditions. We'll utilize my test folder again here. Select our beverage project. Select our template, which we just saw on the screen, and our CSV. Now we can set this CSV file up to essentially include as many SKUs as you want. There could be 10 SKUs, there could be 15 SKUs, there could be 2 SKUs. But the CSV file will contain all of the information that we need to swap out all of the assets to support these different deliverables. Just like the first automation, when we're ready to utilize it, we can go back into the task, hit our task details, adjust our execution control to execution, and we'll hit Save Changes. In this particular case, the CSV file we set up will change the template artwork from blue to the green SKU. And we can go back into our Dropbox folder and verify that we indeed have the correct deliverables in our output folder. If we were to map out the current manual process workflow, it would look something like this, where each of these boxes is a task that would help complete that final deliverable. And this is looking at about 6 to 10 SKUs total. With the automation, all of the grayed out boxes you see here are all of the manual tasks we are able to eliminate from the designer's workload. Of course, complexity and SKU count play a role in the time and resource savings here, but you can see how this is a dramatic decrease in the amount of manual tasks required to produce these deliverables. Thanks for watching.
All right, so with Firefly, we're streamlining the creation above the fold and below the fold deliverables by removing these manual repetitive tasks from the process. Not only does this save us time and cost, but it also frees our designers to focus on the creativity and innovation instead of production work. By automating repetitive tasks like naming, variations, scaling deliverables, we can dramatically reduce manual work and accelerate the creation of e-commerce assets for every SKU. This streamlined process speeds up launches today and sets the stage for future automations in deployment and asset management. Today here at Newell, we are deploying over 85,000 plus assets, and the demand continues to grow. Without these automations, the removal to these redundant tasks, we would not be able to hit all our production launch dates with the required number of deliverables. So what's our key takeaways here? Streamline production. Automation handles the boring stuff, freeing our designers to focus on actual creativity. Cut time and cost. Let the bots deal with naming, scaling, and SKU gymnastics. Future-ready workflow lays the groundwork for smarter asset management and faster e-commerce rollouts. All right, let's jump into AEM. Finding the right asset is instant, and using it is even faster. Here's how we're transforming access across our teams.
At Newell Brands, each brand has its own assets that they need and require for each individual launch. It is vital that we have a single source of truth for the company. We don't want our brands to show up inconsistent to our consumer, so we needed a place to store all of our final approved assets, and that is AEM.
I coordinate all the digital assets for Newell Brands, from images to videos. I make sure that they have the correct metadata. All the digital assets are instantly searchable in AEM.
The needs for our digital asset library were really around organization and accessibility for our brand teams and also our design teams. So making sure that they were able to search and filter out the specific assets that they needed for their product launches was really key to setting up AEM itself.
A lot of what I'm asked to do is finding assets to send to customers or just creating decks. AEM uses smart tagging. We have a ton of SKUs across Rubbermaid, so it's been really helpful to just be able to type in the cut size or the product line, and I can just pull those images quicker.
As a platform owner, I'm excited about our Adobe AEM Assets implementation because AEM is much more than a digital asset repository. It's a state-of-the-art digital asset management platform that's scalable to the enterprise levels required here at Newell Brands, where we have a diverse portfolio of consumer products.
AEM is a huge unlock for us. It is the center and the foundation of our content supply chain that will enable us to run smoothly and more efficiently for asset creation and also asset storage. We are so happy that we implemented AEM at Newell.
All right, so how is AEM and Adobe Workfront working together? Well, we integrated with AEM. Workfront connects project planning with content execution, creating a seamless end-to-end workflow from request to review to publish. With the AEM plus Workfront integration, you can get things like creative briefs and campaigns tasks directly to your assets in AEM, improve visibility across our teams by connecting the project timelines to the actual content delivery. We can streamline content review and approval cycles between teams, and we can automatically move approved assets from Workfront right into the AEM dam. This integration eliminates our silos, reduces manual handoffs, and accelerates time to market, allowing creative and marketing teams to focus on delivering impactful digital experiences. Here at Newell, we have digital asset coordinators. They're our guardians of creative integrity of the Adobe AEM dam. Think of them as superheroes of our content supply chain. Capes optional, metadata mandatory. By enforcing governance through Workfront management and granular user roles, they ensure every asset is secure, compliant, and launch ready for global use. At Newell Brands, we have 3 DACs, 1 guarding each studio hub, from Kalamazoo to Hoboken to South Deerfield. Like a creative Avenger squad, making sure no rogue asset sneaks through. With Workfront and AEM integration, metadata is captured at project level, automatically flows into our deliverables. Teams can bulk tag additional requirements directly into Workfront, while smart tagging further improves accuracy and findability. Once confirmed, assets are seamlessly pushed into AEM, ensuring consistency, efficiency, and governancy. By embedding our AEM tasks into our Workfront project templates, our digital asset coordinators now upload assets directly into Workfront, which then pushes them seamlessly into AEM through 3 structured upload stages, ensuring speed, consistency, accuracy across every deliverable. By breaking the AEM uploads into 3 stages, final selects anything straight from a shoot, launch assets, so anything we need to go to market to launch, and any additional digital content. So these are things like campaign assets, landing pages, banner ads that we create for anything that's tied to this new product development. We ensure every asset flows seamlessly from studio and design into market. This structure keeps our teams aligned, reduces work, and guarantees that all launch-ready content is accessible where and when it's needed. So what's our key takeaways for Adobe AEM? Well, acceleration. AEM gets approved assets out fast without turning security into a game of trust fall. Smart metadata and rights. Smarter tags make assets easy to find, and rights tracking keeps us out of legal hot water. Deduplication. No more which file is final version 6. Everyone works from the right version. And that's the behind the scenes of our tour of how we use Adobe tools, from custom models to Frame.io to Firefly to Workfront and AEM to keep the magic running here at Newell Brands. Thanks for hanging with me, and now I'll hand it back to Lindsay, who promised there wouldn't be a quiz after this.
Yeah, thank you, Jeanette. There is no quiz, but you did cover a lot in a short amount of time. There are so many incredible takeaways, so thank you.
Yes, my pleasure.
All right. So Jeanette, we are going to see you back here in just a few minutes for the Q&A.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, and a reminder for the audience, if you have questions, please submit your questions. We'll cover them in the Q&A. Okay, so we've covered the content supply chain building blocks. We've seen how Jeanette and her team have been building and transforming their content supply chain. Now, Sharon is back. She's going to take us through a blueprint that you can use for your own organization for AI content supply chain success.
Thank you so much. And thank you, a huge thank you to Jeanette, because every time I see these use cases, I actually get a little fluttery because I know all the work that went into making them happen. And it's amazing what this team has pulled off. And I'm including this slide because what's really inspiring about the Newell Brands team is that they are a small but mighty CMD team that pulled this off, and other teams that they brought in, but it's still a very small team. This wasn't hundreds and hundreds of people. And they were able to take on multiple supply chain use cases and bring them into their day-to-day workflow while still keeping the lights on and doing their real jobs. So what is impressive is the dots at the bottom represent the use cases, that I was personally involved in or knew of. I'm sure there's more. So just to let you know, they spanned the whole content supply chain, from project kickoff, creative, scaled assets, review, and you see the tools above that were involved in bringing them to life. But what I wanted to emphasize here is they didn't start with one silo and then go to another silo. These were concurrent efforts because they are interconnected. So it made a big difference that Newell was able to coordinate these. They were fantastically involved and responsive and worked collaboratively with the Adobe team to make this happen. And I can't give enough shout outs to how impressive that is. So let's give you the blueprint to make it happen in your organization. So I hope Jeanette has inspired you with some of the samples she showed today of what they were able to achieve. Some key things to keep in mind as you roll this out in your organization is to gather leaders. get them involved, get everyone involved, leaders and people who are doing the work together. You want the right teams aligned and focused on high value opportunities. So leadership, creative, brand, marketing, IT, data teams, even legal, we have to involve them. But everybody comes in and works together because it's not a silo. You're not building something that's just going to be used by 2 people. You know, you have a giant organization that's going to leverage this and hopefully benefit from it. Picking that piloted use case is super important. And Newell actually, shared a few things that I've learned from them about finding those high value use cases, seeing them through, and then going on to the next one. That is extremely important because you don't want to bite off everything all at once. You want to have that quick win, launch a fast pilot, then iterate on that to improve and optimize the experience. From there, it's important to connect to your workflows. A lot of companies I worked with early on would build something in a silo way over here. Nobody else was involved. And then they would be surprised that nobody wanted to adopt it. So it was important that we worked with the teams that would actually be using these flows to understand their current process, understand what has to happen so you don't forget that one critical step. So Newell was, as you saw the process diagrams, Newell was right on it with documenting what they do now. And then we could definitely make sure we preserve anything important while reducing the number of steps and friction to getting things done. A big one is the brand and governance rules. As you go through, everyone's kind of resistant, like, how could this ever match my brand and governance rules? It's AI. So establishing those standards and approvals and training up front so that you can protect your brand, integrity and compliance. So you protect those things while you're moving forward is super important. And something I want to bring up is as you're creating, especially AI flows, it's important to put it in, do that pilot and prove out that automation or that generation will indeed work for your specific use case. And then you can layer in the guardrails, the controls, the UI to help people adopt it. But it's really important that you don't build all of that and then find out you were off in the beginning and you can't course correct as you go along. And you've spent too much time building out a whole solution where you could have iterated and done the fast wins all the way through. And the last is tracking results and scaling up. So back to that point I just made, start small, scale up, understand where your opportunities are and what's the most important thing to do next. But having the baseline KPIs helps you plan with data so you can actually see the incremental value that you're getting and see the value from what you're doing. And I was very impressed by Newell having those baselines in place and being able to use data to quantify what they're achieving. So I hope that helps you with your AI adventure and Gen Studio CSC AI adventure. I hope Jeanette inspired you with ways you can use these tools in your workflow. And we would love to collaborate with you on the art of the possible with your team. So don't be afraid to reach out to Adobe.
Sharon, thank you so much. It's such helpful guidance. I love that on your AI adventure. That is what it is. It's so exciting. It's a total journey. I love that. We also love being true partners with our customers. We're thrilled to be partnering with Newell Brands in this way. Thank you again, Sharon, and we'll see you back here in just a minute for Q&A.
Yep.
Okay, we would be remiss if we didn't mention my favorite time of year. Adobe Max is almost here. Max is our annual creativity conference. We are incredibly excited to share that we are partnering with Newell Brands at Adobe Max in many different ways, including a hands-on experience in the community park and an in-person creative session. Well, I'm going to give you just a real quick sneak peek. So in the community park, Max attendees, we hope that is you, will start the Adobe Sharpie experience by drawing with Sharpie creative markers like these. They're so cool. They write on anything. You will get to use real tech, including Frame.io, Firefly boards, Photoshop Web, Workfront, and Adobe Express to build a world, add motion, and then showcase your creative work on the big screen. You will also get to take home an Adobe tote bag as your canvas, and then your set of Sharpie creative markers to bring your ideas to life. beyond Max. That's just a peek. It's going to be so, so fun and inspiring, and I just absolutely cannot wait. Also, be sure to register if you'll be there in person for Newell's Adobe Max session. We've included it in the resources. Sam and Julie have so many more insights to share about their content supply chain transformation. More. It's ever evolving and transforming, and there's a lot of exciting stuff. All right, and then in the spirit of ideas taking shape with Sharpie, as we move to audience Q&A, we do have one more fun trivia question for you. Here it is. How many Sharpies are manufactured in one day? Okay, the options are 685,000, 1.8 million, 883,000, or 1.2 million. Looks like we're getting a lot of guesses. Ooh, it's like pretty neck and neck. Okay. We'll let you guess while we bring Jeanette and Sharon back on camera. Hello. Look at all these guesses. Oh my gosh, they're coming through. I wonder how many Sharpies are literally being created at this time that it takes to do the trivia question right now. Jeanette, I'll let you tell everyone the incredible answer.
Well, it's actually 1.8 million Sharpies can be manufactured in one day during our peak season. So isn't that crazy? In one day.
Wild. It is wild. Talk about scale. Okay. All right. So fun. I was so excited to see so many audience questions. So if you guys are ready, there's a lot of buzz. So I think we'll just jump right in.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, so I think the first question is actually good for both of you because you have sort of different perspectives. The question is asking for advice for how to get internal buy-in and acceleration for the adoption of these new kind of AI-powered workflows. So I think maybe we'll start with Jeanette. I'm curious like how that worked with your team and sort of what advice you have when people are starting to go on this AI adventure.
Well, I think you have to get that approval through your top executive leadership. It has to be important to the company. And so I think once you get that buy-in and you actually create a real project around it and initiatives and build out a dedicated team, it's much easier buy-in because you have that support. We also do a lot of training for our teams to use it afterwards. So we have a team dedicated to making sure that we roll this out to our team. So it's also leveraged. So it's got to start from the top.
Yeah, for sure. Such good advice. Sharon, do you have anything to add?
I would just like to build on that. So having an actual use case is really the only way. If you just go, we want the AI, that's not going to bring you any approvals. So if you say, hey, I understand that using AI, we can achieve this, and having those goals, and we can help you with that, during just talking. You don't have to be engaged with that, but just talking to us, we can help you understand what those goals could look like. I'm not trying to sell us, but just please reach out because we've done this and we know how to help you, shepherd you through that. But we have seen, the people who are like, we just want to play with it and see what it can do. There's no win there, so they have trouble getting that approved for use. But if we can work with you on, go ahead.
Oh, like Sharon mentioned, yes, we have those use cases that we apply to real projects that we're working on right now. So if there's a challenge or if there's a speed concern or we can't quite get it in photography because we don't have a model of it yet, like how can we problem solve around this? And so we would take those kind of challenges and we bring it back to Adobe, right? And we'd be like, okay, let's create a use case around this. So we're using actual projects, which really helps as well.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So top three, it sounds like executive sponsorship, use cases, and then training enablement. Those are like, I think, really important takeaways. Okay. We did get a question too, just around sort of like what's the best way to sort of work with legal teams too when you're sort of implementing these new with AI and workflows and IP. And I think that's interesting. I would put that up with executive sponsorship probably. When I think about that, cross-functional executive.
I'm going to pass that one to Sharon. I personally didn't have to deal with that one, which I'm very thankful for. We had a whole team dedicated to that, so I'll pass that to Sharon.
Sure. So What you want to do is involve them from the get-go, involve your legal teams. Don't surprise them when you're ready to go live and say, hey, do we use AI in our workflows? Because that's just going to hold you back. So involve them from the beginning. We do have a lot of information to share with those teams. A lot of corporations have people dedicated to vetting out what they can and cannot do with AI, and they have rules and guidelines. And getting those up front guides what you can do for use cases. And like I said, we have information. If they say, we need to understand this, we can get that to you. We've done this before. But it really does depend on your companies. I mean, there's no laws really about AI. It's very light. So it is company by company. So you want to involve them, that team, right away.
Yep. We have a whole back of house SharePoint site where we list out everything, right, in regards to what sites we're allowed to be on, what we're allowed to use in regards to AI. So it's all in like what percentage of it can be AI. So like we do have a set of ground rules around how we use it and how we deploy it and how we get approvals for it.
That's great. We got questions about that too, sort of what that might look like. So that was one of the questions. Thanks for sharing sort of how you guys are managing that. Okay, we also, okay, so people just, they couldn't help themselves, Jeanette. They were asking, what's next on your transformation journey? You shared so many examples, but like, they got to know what are you just starting to sort of work on and think about?
Well, there's so many, but I'll speak for the studio since, you know, that's my team that's responsible for a lot of that. There's some great stuff in Adobe Premiere as well. So right now we're looking at a use case around reframing. So when we can take a video in and then cut it into multiple specs, right, in different sizes. And so we're only creating one and then it's kind of making those renditions for us. So that's super exciting and cutting down time. So there's a lot of stuff within the studio of different programs that we're using. Also, Frame.io and Workfront being more connected with the metadata and it traveling with the life cycle of the metadata from Frame.io to Workfront to AEM, right? It's carrying it with the asset all the way through. Another exciting one is that, you know, when we get pinged in Frame.io, it sometimes will, you know, go to an email, which can be delayed, or it's in the browser. We're working on getting that connected to our Microsoft Teams, so it will ping them directly, the user in there, the reviewer, because they have that available today for Slack users. So we're working on that right now as well. So continuing to accelerate, you know, the feedback loop.
So exciting. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
Another question was asking how, in sort of some of these scenarios, probably in a lot of the collaboration scenarios that you mentioned, how do you work with outside vendors? I don't know, you know, whether you guys do, I'm sure you do, other companies doing the same. So what does that look like for you?
So in the studio, we do have overflow agencies. So we have 3 approved agencies that we use, and we set them up in Frame.io for approval so that we can see everything that's shooting live. They're in the same system, same folder structure, same naming, all of that. But what's great is that within each one of these hubs within Frame.io, you have certain permissions. So you can set whatever permissions and what people can view. So they're not in there seeing everything that we're shooting, right? They're only seeing their one project in their one hub. Which has been really great. We can put what individuals, cross-functional partners, whether they can download them, not download them. So you have all the rights to customize who sees what and how. And so it's been super helpful for us to get a peek into what our vendors are shooting for us externally. So Frame.io has been great with that as well.
That's great. We were asked sort of if you had to summarize, like, what was the biggest win for your creative teams when you're thinking like holistically about this transformation that you've been going on?
Honestly, I think it's time back, right? It's reducing those manual tasks, eliminating like unnecessary shoots with AI. Our teams can get to spend more time on, you know, and energy on the creative itself. So that's the fun part. That's what creatives like to do, right? They want to do the creative part, and that drives the most value also for our brand. So definitely, I would say time.
All right, that's really nice to hear, because that's, I think, the whole point, giving you more time to be more creative. And so we love hearing that. On that note, I think we are just about at time. I think we answered most of the questions. If we didn't, we will follow up with anyone who asked it in the audience. We also have the resources and presentation deck linked. So if you'd like to get more information, you can check those out. If you would like more information about any of the Adobe solutions, you can let us know in the survey questions to the right of your screen. You will also get the on-demand recording after we wrap. All right. A big thank you, Jeanette and Sharon, for being here and for sharing your insights with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And a huge thank you to our audience for joining us and for being a part of this discussion. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Bye, guys.
Bye.